Hi everyone, it's Johnny Seed here again, and I'm just going to do a bit of a roundup video today, a collection of all the things I've acquired over the last couple of weeks from various sources. For a start, you may have noticed a bit of a slightly different angle here. I'm actually standing up for once. I thought I would give it a try, see what it's like, and also I realised I've got a very squeaky chair, which I don't know if you've heard in any of the videos. You can sometimes hear it making squeaking noises, which is a bit off-putting. And also, I recently found out that my mum has discovered YouTube and she's watching my videos. So, hello Mum, if you want to say hello, write hello Mum in the comments, or hello Charlotte. Yeah, I'm going to have to probably curb the swearing now, aren't I guess. So. And if you're wondering what sort of music my mum likes, she's into hardcore techno and gabba. So what have we got today? Yes, okay, so we've got some VCLT coming up from a well-known YouTuber who I'm sure you'll all subscribe to. I've got some pickups from the market, some pickups from the antiques place that I went to the other week, and and stick around for the very end for a bit of a treat. I got some vinyl featuring a fellow VCMC YouTube maker. I won't tell you who it is at the end. You've got to stick around for the end for a bit of a treat. And a couple of CDs as well. So yeah, I will start straight away with the VCLT, I think. Okay, so a couple of Fridays ago, I got a message on Facebook out of the blue from James Griffiths. I'm sure you all know who James Griffiths is. And he just said, which solo Beatle albums have you got? So I told him which ones we got. No, not many. I think I got McCartney 2, Milk and... what's it called? Milk and Honey? What's that John Lennon one called? I got that John Lennon one, and I got Mind Games. And I got a Greatest Hits John Lennon and Wings Greatest as well. And that was about it. And he said, okay, that's fine. What's your address? I want to send you something. I was like, ooh, okay. He didn't say what it was, so I said, I give him my address. And then the very next day, so he must have been just about ready to post it when I spoke to him, because I spoke to him in the afternoon, so, you know, fair play to the Royal Mail. The package arrived, and I whipped it up straight away. And, oh, that reminds me, was the, I better find the letter. Let me find the letter. Well, so much for not doing many edits. I put it somewhere safe. I put it somewhere out of the way so I didn't get damaged. Now I can't find it. I put it inside one of the records to keep safe. So yeah, he sent me a really nice, interesting letter. It says, "Hi John, find enclosed probably the definitive McCartney / Wings album. Band on the Run." I've been off this for a while. It's been on my want list. I'm sure you're all familiar with it anyway. I hadn't heard the whole thing. I know quite a lot of songs. Band on the Run, great song, great example of McCartney. Is there a musical term for it? I don't know, I want to say portmanteau, but I know that's not going to be right. You know, when he takes what's obviously like 3 or maybe sometimes even 4 completely different songs and then finds a way of melding them together. I think Band on the Run is one of the classic examples of that from Paul McCartney. He does it so well, you know. You know, he has that many brilliant ideas. You know, he can just do little bits of each song with them, you know. So, yeah, Band on the Run. It's that song that starts off, I'm like, oh, what's this? I'm not sure what this is. I'm not sure if I like it or not. And then I remember that it's Band on the Run, and when it kicks into it, it's really good. Jet, Bluebird, Mr. Man will let me roll it. Yeah, so fantastic. I really enjoyed this. Let me check all this. Band on the Run. And yeah, has the custom label, which I think I remember James saying is one of his favourites. Thank you very much, James, for Band on the Run, and he also included another one. His letter continues. And most definitely not the definitive George Harrison album, although quite a pleasant one. 33 1/3, an album which I was only vaguely familiar with. I don't think I'd ever even heard of it until I'd seen somebody show it on the VC. But he was right. Well, it's very pleasant. I really like it, actually. I've probably played this about 3 or 4 times now, and I can say that there was nothing wrong with it whatsoever. I couldn't pick it. There was no point did I say, oh, I'm not keen on this one, or feel like I would skip it. I was doing other things and it was on, and it was really, really enjoyable. Nothing really stuck out and nothing really kind of sucked. So it was, yeah, it was, I would recommend it actually. I could probably give another few listens. If I sat down with a pen and paper and tried to make some notes, maybe I would have a bit more of a sort of detailed review. But as it goes, it was very, very enjoyable background music, which is not in any way meant to be a slight at all, but just that there wasn't anything particularly fantastic or particularly terrible about it. Yeah, well, thank you very much again, James, for sending me this. So, James goes on to write, 33 1/3 was the first album George made on his own Dark Horse label, having inked a new deal with Warner Brothers in 1976 and being sued by A&M for not delivering the album as previously agreed in the contract. Oh dear. He signed with them the year before. It was the beginning, the album I mean, of George emerging from the coke-addled cloud of depression and artistic stasis which had hindered his creativity in 1975. Extra Texture, which was not worth picking up unless you find it V-cheap, by the way. Anyway, this is not after the gold rush, but quite nice in its way, and it certainly was. Thank you very much, James. P.S. Span on the Run, recorded in Lagos. Ah, right, okay, didn't know that. So yeah, one of the charity shops I used to frequent, but I think now last time, a couple of times I've been in, they've seemed to have got rid of all their vinyl. They had Extra Texture in a frame, and they were asking like 50 quid for it, because it was the one with the basketball material on the front, but yeah, so I'm glad I didn't pick it up. Oh, and here's the inside of the George Harrison album, and it comes on, and I'm very chuffed to have something now on this label, on the fantastic Dark Horse label, which is very cool indeed. Oh, and just as a bit of an aside, while me and James were talking, he said, oh, and by the way, how much do you have any Japan albums, you know, by the band Japan? I said, I do actually, yes, because my brother was a big fan of Japan, and David Sylvian, and he had quite a few of them, and of course, well, I have now got my brother's record collection, so I do own quite a few Japan albums, and I've listened to a couple of their later ones, and yeah, they're good, I quite like them. So I said, oh yeah, I have a few, but then it got me thinking. I went through my collection and pulled out their first album, this one here, Obscure Alternatives, which I'd never heard. And now, if you know anything about the band Japan, you're probably thinking, yeah, it's kind of synth, dark, sort of slightly gothic-ish, you know, very sort of electronic sounding. This is nothing like this whatsoever. This is a rock and roll album. I couldn't believe it. I had to actually look and check the label was right, and then check that the song names matched up with what's on here, because it was not what I was expecting whatsoever. Yeah, it's more kind of like a little bit. It's got guitars. I don't know if there are any. It's even got saxophone on it. So yeah, completely surprised by that. Japan's first album, not what I was expecting. I think I may be moving around a bit more because I'm stood up.
Yes, calm down, son.
We'll see back in the edit. Okay, what should we go with next? Okay, so I went to the market, as I usually do, and I managed to find Salty Dog. This makes up for the one that I missed out on last year. This is just a couple of quid. It's an MFP version, but I never heard the whole thing. I really liked the song Salty Dog. Yeah, and I was very impressed with it. Side 2 particularly, I thought was all killer and no filler. So yeah, I managed to get. So if you saw my previous video, the one where I went to the Regent Antique Centre, then you will be familiar with some of these records that I'm going to show you now, because after watching the footage, I discovered a few things. Well, there was one thing in particular which I didn't pick up the first time I was there, and I thought, because it was a toss-up between After the Gold Rush by Neil Young and the one I'm going to show you in a moment, but I couldn't quite afford both of them, so when I went back there yesterday, yeah, it was yesterday, yeah, I had a day off, so it was yesterday, and I grabbed the thing I should have got the first time, and a couple of other things which I'd seen while I was reviewing the footage, well, one in particular, and another one which I should have picked up the first time but I didn't, so the one I was, the main one, so yeah, I got the Motörhead album. This is the one that I really wanted to get the first time round, but I ended up getting Neil Young instead, and this is, oops, there we go, this is on bronze. As far as I can tell, I've not done a matrix. In focus? there are any matrix numbers checking, if that's how you do it. But I'm pretty sure this is the first pressing. Very, very happy to have this indeed. One of the greatest songs ever written is the Ace of Spades. No doubt about it. Yeah, so I've got all sorts in here. Fire, Jailbait, Bite the Bullet, The Hammer. There you go, they are looking very dapper in their sort of biker cowboy outfits, like banditos. Well, this is probably shot in Surrey, somewhere in a quarry, I guess. Right, and I got this one. I got the Paul Collins Beats album. I don't know why I didn't pick this up the first time. It was when I was reviewing the footage I saw it and I thought, that looks, compared with everything else that's on there, that looked more interesting. And so I did a quick search on YouTube, and of course the album was on there. And it's really good. It's kind of like new wave. Now, if you don't know, if you're like me, if you're in the States, you may be a lot more familiar with Paul Collins' Beat. Paul Collins' Beat is the reason why the band The Beat in the UK, the ska band, the two-tone band The Beat, was called the English Beat when they're in the States. Does that make sense? That's because there was already a band called The Beat, and that's this one. Yeah. So they ended up calling themselves Paul Collins Beat, and we had the English Beat, so there's two beats. Anyway, so yeah, this is really good, fantastic. I would urge you to go and look at it. I have put the link on from the last video, but just have a quick search for it online. If you like new wave music, if you like sort of that early 80s sound, then you will dig this a lot. Particularly, I like the track You Won't Be Happy. Is an early standout. And there was the Inner. Who does he remind me of? I'm trying to think. Simon Groom. People in the States won't know who the hell I'm talking about. Simon Groom was a TV presenter on a program called Blue Peter. Do you know, I think he looks like Simon Groom. He looks very familiar anyway. And this just comes on the CBS. And also while I was there, I picked this up. I got the Tiffany album. I got it for sentimental reasons, really. Yeah, I had a bit of a crush on Tiffany when I was a teenager, and I still do now. Actually, when she's older, she's still fantastic. So yeah, not so much for the music, but you know, for the nostalgia. Right, and a couple of CDs now. These were 3 for £1. Wasn't going to say no to that. I got the first Blondie album and a couple of Oasis albums. I got What's the Story and Definitely Maybe. Now I've never owned any Oasis albums, but looking on the back of here, I probably know the lyrics to 80 to 90% of all the songs on them, simply just from hearing them over and over again everywhere you go and going out and the parties and everything, so through osmosis. So I'm very extremely familiar with these, although like I said, I've never heard the entire album, sat down and listened to it. So, and for 33p, you know, wasn't going to leave me behind. And the other week, a couple of Fridays ago, me and my mate Paul went to our mate Lee's house for a record night, a bit of a vinyl night. We all grabbed some records and went round there and had a bit of a bit of spin, a bit of chat. I had a few refreshments. Nothing too heavy, honestly. Although I'm telling a lie, we had this. Lee had this pineapple rum. Now hear me out. Now, if you think pineapple doesn't belong on pizza, you might not think it belongs in rum either, but I'm here to tell you it certainly does. It's called, I'll put a picture on the screen now, it's called Pineapple Grenade Spice Rum. And it's only 65%. So yeah, it does have a little bit of a petrol kick to it. But oh my god, it tasted fantastic. It was just like sticky toffee pudding and pineapple and sugar and yeah, it was good. Anyway, so we were playing some records, and my mate Paul is a huge Fall fan. And when he came round to pick me up, he was like, oh, I've got some CDs for you. You can have these because I've got them on vinyl now, so you can have the CD versions. I thought, oh, that's very generous of you, Paul. So I got Dragnet. Love that cover, by the way. That's fantastic. And Live at the Witch Trials. So I'm believing my first Fall in any physical format. I know, it's shocking, isn't it? So So there's the inside. Whoops, there you go. And I shall, this one look like, oh, that's not right, is it? Where's the other disc gone? Oh, that's right, it's in here, isn't it? Is that the right one? Or is that, what's that? Oh. Beat band? That's the beat band, and where's the fall? Paul, if you're watching this, you didn't give me the Dragnet CD. it had disc 2 of Live from the Witch Trials in it. So I don't know what happened to it. Did I leave it behind the leads? I don't think we actually played these, did we? Because we were playing the vinyl version. So yeah, just to let you know, I got the dual box for Dragnet, nothing else. So. CDs, we've done that. What have we got to do left? Right. And last but not least, we have this, which came in the post of the day, featuring a couple of old friends of mine, and one friend of yours, maybe, if you watch his videos. Let's see if I can get this open. Yeah, these, he put a Facebook post up, and I just realised I may have beaten him to the, if I get this video up straight away, I'll have to check whether he's actually mentioned anything about this on his channel. I may have beat him to the mark by showing it first. Yeah, he put up a post on Facebook to say that, this was now available for the first time ever on vinyl. And yes, they've sent me the right one. All right. Ooh, okay. I'm just going to get it out of its. Oh, and they've. Oh, that's nice. Right. So. Okay, what is it? It's Dance the Marble Naked by the band featuring fellow MCVCer Mark G with a C. Yes, he used to be in a band, I'm sure you all know if you watch his channel, he's mentioned it a few times. We both played gigs together and we were around in the same sort of scene at the same time. But they actually went off and got a record deal. Went over to Germany and I think... where is he? There we go. Yes, there's Mark there. And my other good friend is Tata, who was the bass player at the time. So yeah, Mark and Tata, whoops, are good mates of mine. And yeah, so I thought, why not? I'll buy their record. This is very dark well, this is the doom death metal, black metal. Sorry, you have to forgive me, my knowledge of extreme metal subgenres is not fantastic, so I will apologise if I've mislabeled it. Oh, it's got a sheet inside. So there we see, look at these moody boys. So there we are with Mark on the bass, that's my mate Tata. Paul on vocals, I don't know, I can't remember him. Steve guitar, I have some memory of Steve on guitar. And Chris on the drums, I have some memory of Chris on the drums. And of course Mark on the guitar, look at his hair, good there Mark, look at that, this is fantastic, love it. So yeah, recorded at Academy Studios in West Yorkshire. And this is the label. Ooh, ooh. I think I'm going to put this on and we can have a little bit of a listen to it if Mark doesn't mind and doesn't take my video down with a copyright strike. So thank you very much for watching, everybody, and I will see you all next time. Bye!